It is no mystery how I feel about defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn, and I hear that him and Ben Johnson have some interviews somewhere in the National Football League. And that is fine and well. That's one of the reasons that, in my opinion, the NFLPA came out with that thing about, Aaron Glenn being the number one coach and voted the number one coach by players as far as coordinators. But he will be coaching the game of his life coming up this Sunday at 8 p.m. against the LA Rams. Now, what happens in the future, I can't decide that, but I would have to say that no game in Aaron Glenn's tenure as Detroit Lions defensive coordinator has been as important as this game here. Not the Chiefs, not the Cowboys. No game at all has been this important. And he's going to have his work cut out for him. The Lions are decent against the run. We rank top 5, I want to say, against the run. Maybe top 10. I think it's definitely in the top 10. It might be 5 or somewhere between 5 and 10. You guys can put that in the comment section below. And they got an outstanding running back in Kyron Williams over there in LA. But it's their passing game that I'm worried about. And with the lack of pass rush that the Detroit Lions have and the fact that our secondary has taken some hits, then I'm a little concerned about stopping Matthew Stafford when it comes to Puka Nacua. And Cooper Kupp, can't forget about him. Now, Stafford is not the most elusive guy in the pocket, and that will work to our favor. But Aaron Glenn, if he wants to get a job as a head coach or prove his worth, he wants to prove me wrong and everyone else, what better way than to get this win? Now, the Lions are probably gonna allow a ton of yards, and they come away with the win, because if we come away with the win, the yards that we allow may not be a big deal to Lions fans. But if we lose, I guarantee you guys are going to be calling for Aaron Glenn's job at the end of this game. If Matthew Stafford is allowed to throw for 400 yards on the Detroit Lions in a loss by us, you will come for his job. I assure you that. But let's look at what he is up against. Now, over this information is coming from StatMuse, pretty decent website. This is what the Detroit Lions have allowed in the games this year, okay? Not too bad. 226, opening game of the season, 300. Let's focus on how many 300-yard games have the Detroit Lions allowed this year. Well, they allowed against the Kansas City Chiefs here. Nope, it was against the Seattle Seahawks, a loss, that game here. The 22nd was the next 300-yard game, a loss. The 12th, that was the Charger game. We won that game. Then he allowed 300 against Dak Prescott. I don't know why it's not on here. Oh, here it is. Okay, I wasn't far enough. So he allowed 300 against the Minnesota Vikings, over 300 in a loss, and 300 in a win. So out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out of the 6 games that the Detroit Lions have allowed over 300 yards, we have lost 1, 2. We won that one. So 2 losses and 1 win. We are 3-3, right? 3-3. We won, lost, won, lost. I think we're 3-3 out of the 6 games that we've allowed over 300 yards. And this is going to be the biggest game of Aaron Glenn's coaching career. Now, the good news is that the Detroit Lions average that they allow yards per game as far as on their defense is 247. The Rams average 239 when it comes to passing yards per game. That's a big deal for the Detroit Lions. And it's all going to come to how Aaron Glenn schemes up this game. Now we have C.J. Gardner-Johnson back, and I know a lot of you feel like he played like trash on Sunday, and he might have. He hadn't played in almost 4 months. I think it was 3.5. That's a long time. And he did pretty well for a guy that has been out for quite a while. But the thing that's going to help our secondary, do we have it? And that is a pass rush. Now, I just saw that Bruce Irvin, who we waived a few days ago, has signed with the injury depleted, Miami Dolphins. They lost like 3 pass rushers in one game, and they signed 3 in a matter of 2 days. Bruce Irvin is now a Miami Dolphin. He is on the active roster. That's how bad it was for their team. But the lack of a pass rush could be an issue when it comes to getting to Matthew Stafford. We know he's not the most elusive quarterback, but he can make you miss. So what is Aaron Glenn going to do when it comes to the right scheme for a guy like Matthew Stafford? You got Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp used to be the premier wide receiver, just won the Triple Crown not too long ago. But now there is another guy who literally came out of nowhere that you have to worry about. His name is Puka Nacua. This guy was drafted in the 5th round. Is not supposed to be as good as he is, but he's another one of them St. Brown guys. Came out of nowhere, put in the work, late round pick, put in the work, and now has 14. He is their leading receiver with 1,486 yards. If we go to his game, this is the guy we have to worry about. Go to his game log. This is what he's coming off. Now, it took him a while to not really, because 118, 164, 105. Then I want to say there was a time that Stafford was out. He wasn't on IR, but he missed a couple of games. 154, 163, 147, and coming off that 119 yard game. This is the guy. And don't forget about, like I said, Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is going to be a problem if you try to, contain Puka, then you got to worry about Kupp. But the main concern is Puka Nacua. He's going to be a concern. So Aaron Glenn, for as much slack as I've given him, this is the chance to show that you are capable of scheming up a game that is capable of stopping a good quarterback and winning the game. 3-3 in games that the Detroit Lions and this defense have allowed over 300 yards passing on the defensive side of the ball. A lot of times when you come out with the win, this stuff is overlooked. It's tucked under the rug. But I assure you, if we lose to Matthew Stafford and he puts up 300 plus yards, it's going to be a problem. And the same people were calling for Aaron Glenn that he stopped the high-powered Dallas Cowboy offense will be screaming for his replacement at the end by Monday morning. That's what you will be talking about. So let me know in the comments below. We going to have a problem. Aaron Glenn is going to have a safety. He's going to have a safety and somehow scheme a way to get to Matthew Stafford with no defensive line. James Houston, we don't know. We'll probably find back. Today is Tuesday. We'll probably find out the 10th. The odds, I think that's when the initial kind of injury report comes out, if James Houston is going to play or not. He will be a big help if he can come, but how much will he be able to contribute having not played in 3.5 months? So we shall see. But this is the biggest game of Aaron Glenn's career, not just from a career standpoint as far as defensive coordinator, but for the future. If he plans on getting any job in the future, as far as head coaching, this game and whatever playoff run we go on is going to go a long, way toward that. So every year he's come up for an interview. Every year he's returned as the Detroit Lions defensive coordinator. There's a lot of names that's becoming available in the coaching ranks, and those names could wind up being your new defensive coordinator if Aaron Glenn takes another job as a head coach somewhere or even leaves, kind of like Deuce Staley did. So we'll see, but this is Aaron Glenn's the coaching. This is his career. The biggest game of his career is coming up Sunday at 8 p.m. Let me know what you think in the comments below. How would you feel Matthew Stafford throws for 300 plus yards and we lose this game? You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.